Tom Matson and Alan Bonk here, co-founders of Quantum Business Golf International. If your job is to grow your business, our job is to show you how to have more prosperity, more energy, and more joy. We want to congratulate you for taking action on learning how to improve yourself and your business. Just by watching this video, you've demonstrated that you're serious about growing, improving, and having a lot more fun on the journey.
And that's why this webinar is our gift to you. So before we begin, let us tell you a little bit about who we are and how we've earned the right to show you how to have more prosperity, energy, and joy.
Alan's background includes 13 years with 2 Fortune 500 companies, Motorola and GE. During that time, he invested hundreds of rounds learning the art and science of doing business on the golf course. As a direct result, he closed an additional $35.2 million in business and inspired his team to close tens of millions more in their work.
So the topic today is why business golf? Well, business golf is a phenomenally underutilized tool, and what it basically equates to is you plus your prospect plus golf equals trust. And one of the reasons why business golf is so powerful, well, there's many actually, is first thing is it gets you past the stage of vendor or salesperson. In other words, you're not viewed any longer as just one of those suppliers or another salesperson coming in the building trying to sell me stuff. You get way beyond that in a round of business golf, and I'll explain why as we get going along here. Number one is it gets you inside the person's life. In other words, you talk about things other than the project that you're working on or the business deal. You actually spend time getting inside their life, and you get to know a lot more about them in that venue than you ever would sitting across a boardroom table or even having a power lunch. It's a phenomenal tool, and it enables you to truly get to know the person rather than just them as a possible business opportunity. And it creates a level of trust that no other scenario can duplicate. And it's very, very powerful in that sense, because if you look at other types of activities or venues, you could go and play tennis with somebody. But the problem with that is you're separated. You're not together. You're opposing each other. And that doesn't set a good framework for a great business relationship. You can go to a baseball game, but you sit there and you watch the baseball game. So you're spectating, you're not really active, you're not doing anything together, you're not having fun together, you're just kind of sitting there being a spectator, and you don't get to, actually communicate anywhere near the level that you do when you play a round of business golf with somebody. And the other thing that it does, it establishes character faster than a polygraph, and that's the truth. It really, truly does. You can tell more about someone's character in the span of 3 or 4 holes than you ever could any other way in business, because golf has a way of revealing a person's character. You can't hide out there. It just has a way of bringing out either the best or the worst or a combination of the two in everybody that plays the game. The leverage of business golf. So business golf is a tool not to be underestimated, and it's the fastest way to creating revenue with specifically targeted individuals. Okay, and by that I mean not haphazardly. You have to have a plan around this, but once you have a plan and you set your goals and your objectives, it truly is the fastest way to creating revenue, because you're going to build a relationship that's a stronger bond than you ever could, again, just doing a sales call or sitting across from somebody in a presentation. You get to know each other on neutral ground, and that is really powerful in and of itself. So when you go to the customer's location in a sales process, often you are, sitting across their desk. Well, they're in the position of power in that situation, right? So that puts you kind of on the defensive in many cases, and it isn't the greatest, level playing field that you would like. Well, a golf course gives you that. It's completely neutral ground. You're out there in beautiful surroundings. It's relaxing. It's fun. You've got lots of things to talk about, and no one is in a position of power in that environment. So it's a really, really cool place to get to know somebody aside from an office environment, because in that office environment, one of the two of you is always in the position of power. And it relaxes everyone involved. And like I say, the reasons for that is it's that kind of an environment. It's that kind of an atmosphere. And it brings fun to the relationship. Well, when you think about, creating revenue for your company, you don't often equate the word fun to that. And getting to know somebody, or getting to know a prospect or a client, often the word fun wouldn't be synonymous with your relationship with that person. But golf does that. Golf brings that out, and it's very, very powerful, again, in creating that bond. So why aren't you doing it? Well, you're probably thinking one of the following things. It takes too much time, okay, which is really a myth. Because a round of golf, if done effectively, I mean, if you think about a sales call or a business meeting or a power lunch, you can do 10 of those and take up 10, 12, 14 hours doing that, and one round of golf is going to give you far more leverage than any of those other activities will, and you're talking about a half a day, okay? One of the other things you may think is too difficult or too much of an obstacle to overcome is you feel intimidated. Well, that's understandable, because golf is typically based on a bunch of do's and don'ts. But if you understand the don'ts, then you won't have to worry about doing the do's. They'll take care of themselves. It's really about common sense. It's about common sense not commonly applied, we like to say, but there's no reason to feel intimidated, because guess what? Everybody starts at the same place, which leads me to the next bullet point, that you aren't a good enough player. And that's one of the reasons why people shy away from doing business golf, is because they feel that they aren't good enough. Well, my experience is that it's a minute percentile of people out there that are actually what I would call good golfers. The rest are hackers, for lack of a better term. We've all heard that phrase. And I fall into that category myself. But I've done business golf for decades very, very successfully, because I realized that it wasn't about how I scored or how I played. It was about the relationship. And if you think about that, that's fundamental to your success out there. One of the other things you probably are thinking about is results can't be measured. Well, they can. You have to work at it a little bit. And I've actually created a tool that determines the return on investment for a round of business golf, but there's lots of practical ways to do that as well. For example, if you have a great round of business golf, and at the end of it you get a meeting next week with the client, maybe in that office setting, you will then realize that you've got some forward momentum. So those are great results. And that next step leads you to the next step and the next step and the next step after that. Or you might be thinking that fun and work don't go together. Well, get out of the dark ages, because you know what? If you can't be passionate about what you do and do what you love and have fun at it, all while making money, then you're living the wrong kind of life. Because those two things can and absolutely should go together. Work should be a blast. You should be passionate about it, and you should have a lot of fun with it, and golf is a great way to do that, in bringing you and a client together in a very fun environment that enables you to bring out that creativity and that fun side of you and reveal that to them, because that's what's going to help bring you together. And one of the other things that you might be thinking of is you don't know where to begin. Well, there's lots and lots of resources, both from us, from Back Nine Board of Advisors, and just out there, on the World Wide Web. There are all kinds of things that you can do to help you figure out where to start. And really, it's simple. The steps that you need to follow are not complicated and not expensive, and we're going to talk a little bit about those here in a second. So some of the steps to doing it, well, just simply dust off your clubs. And if you don't have any, just go out and rent them at the golf course. Every golf course will have those clubs available for rent, and in the case of a good course, the clubs are typically fairly high end. So you'll have a great set of clubs to play the round with, and if you find you take to it, then it's a worthwhile investment. Go ahead and invest in a set of clubs. You want to identify and reach out to a prospect that you wish to do business with. Find out if they golf, and there's several ways to do that. You can do some work on the internet. It's amazing what information is out there on people. Most of us have either LinkedIn profiles or Facebook profiles, and typically your hobbies and your interests are resident on those profiles. So you'll want to check that out as one way. And another way is just to call maybe a gatekeeper or executive assistant for that person if they happen to be an executive of some sort. They will absolutely give you that information, let you know if that person loves to golf or doesn't love to golf, and if they do, then book a tee time and book it at a decent course. You don't want to book it at a muni, for example, a municipal course, because typically they're a little bit lesser maintained than the better ones. But you don't have to go to a high-end course either, because that in itself can be bring more intimidation and anxiety to the round, particularly if your client isn't an avid golfer. So those are kinds of things that you want to find out. But book the tee time at a decent course, and then if you're just getting started, do a search on etiquette and behaviors and some basic rules. And that's really easy to do too. And some of the videos that we produce at Back Nine encompass those things, so you might want to dig into that as well. A little plug there. But search etiquette, behavior, and rules. And the rules of golf are part of the reason that people have anxiety around playing the game. Same with the etiquette. And those things are actually pretty simple once you understand them. And there's not a lot of rules that you really have to know off the top of your head. If you kind of have a rough idea about, the top 10, and that would be a great way to search on Google, just top 10 rules of golf. And if you have a rough idea of as to how those work, you'll do fine out there. You have no need to worry and no need to have anxiety, because you'll have a basic understanding. And between the two of you, your playing partner and yourself, you'll have clarity on what to do out there. And if you are both stuck, then sort of shelve the issue until you get back to the clubhouse and ask the pro, and then decide what should have been done. And if you want to penalize yourself or not penalize yourself, as the case may be, then you have the option to do that. Prepare for the day by ensuring the following. Now, you want to confirm tee time 2 days before. And the reason I say that is because it's tantamount to your success that you actually have a tee time. And more than a handful of times over the course of my business golf career, if you will, I have not done that and shown up and the tee time wasn't there. It didn't exist. And the reason it didn't exist was because, well, there's probably several reasons. One of them could be the person that took the tee time got distracted before they were able to enter it properly, and it just didn't get entered, or a computer glitch or some sort of an issue came up and it just didn't get recorded. So I learned very quickly that I needed to do that, because if you can't manage a simple thing like a tee time, your prospect is going to think, well, gee, how is he or she ever going to be able to manage my business if they can't even get a tee time, booked and confirmed? So really important that you want to do that. Send driving directions to your guest. Also, a scorecard is a good thing to do. So, a couple days before the round, after you've confirmed the tee time, send them a scorecard of the golf course, and maybe make the best way to do that is probably just send them a link to their website, which will have the scorecard on it. Every website for a golf course has a place where you can look at the scorecard and maybe make a comment about, a particular hole, maybe the signature hole, that, oh, gee, this looks really fun, Joe. I can't wait to get out there and play it with you. And then driving instructions, and also you can do that via a link from the golf course website as well. So make sure you do that. Arrive early and get everything ready. So that means have the cart all set up. If towels are provided, make sure those are there. Ensure you take a cart and don't walk. That's also very, very critical to your success, because if you're walking, and if you think about how golf is played from tee to green, you're probably not going to be together. So you're going to be on your own little jolly walk down the fairway or on the side of the fairway, and your playing partner could very likely be on the other side of the fairway, and you don't see them till the green again or get to talk to them. So really, really important that you take a cart and don't walk, and that's a very rigid strategy that I absolutely am adamant about, because it is so critical to your success. You're not going to be able to build a relationship if you're walking like you would in a cart. And a couple bottles of water each to start. That's also critical. You need to stay hydrated out there, particularly if it's hot. Find out if there's a beverage cart on the course that day, because that will enable you to replenish your water supply if you happen to run out. So you want to know all of those things and basically have an idea. Make sure you know where the first tee is. Sometimes it's not always clear. You don't want to look foolish by driving the wrong way and starting on number 10 or number 1 on the wrong golf course if there are 3 9s or 2 complete 18s. Often it's easy to get mixed up and end up on the wrong tee box. So you want to make sure that you're going in the right direction. And determine whether you can pay for the round. Now this one is a bit of a sensitive subject, especially more recently, where government and both state, local, and federal have policies in place where you are not allowed to pay for the round of golf. Okay, you're not allowed to pay for it because it's seen as a bribe of some sort. That's how they perceive it. So you want to not embarrass yourself by paying for the round and just assuming that it's okay. You want to confirm that if you do want to pay for the round, that it's okay to do so. So that's just a simple conversation with your prospect. So you want to make it a wow, okay? That's really, really, really important. You want to make it an experience that they don't soon forget. So things that you can do to do that: call your guest en route. Make sure they aren't lost. So, a half an hour or so, or 45 minutes before they're due to arrive, you want to just give them a quick call on their cell phone and make sure that they're not lost. That's a really nice touch and very thoughtful. Meet them in the parking lot with the golf cart if permissible. You'll have to watch. Every golf course is different in that regard. So there's no standard in terms of whether or not they allow golf carts into the parking lot. So you want to check that. And if not, if there is an attendant, have them watch for the vehicle, find out in advance what kind of a vehicle they drive and what color, and have the golf course attendant watch for them, tip them a few bucks, and make sure that they run out and help them carry their bag and that sort of thing up to the clubhouse. That's a really nice touch. And if possible, arrange for the pro to personally welcome them. That's a strategy that I've used a couple of times, and it's amazing how much of a wow that creates, because they know that you've arranged that. Your guest will know that you arranged for that to happen, because that just doesn't happen at golf courses. So if you can, just in advance, go out into the pro shop and say, hey, I've got an important client coming to play business golf with me today, and I'd love it. It would be a really nice touch if you don't mind taking a couple of minutes and just coming out and welcoming them to the golf course. And wishing them a great round. I'd really appreciate that. And they'll be happy to do that for you. Okay? And then don't discuss business unless they bring it up. And even then, try to keep it to a minimum if you can. It's not about, pulling out brochures and contracts on the golf course and in the golf cart. That's not what you want to do. You want to just focus entirely on building the relationship. That is all you're there for, and the rest will come. And then just relax and have fun. That's what the day is about. It's about relaxing. Even if you shank the first 3 shots off the tee into the woods or into the pond, try to relax while hitting 7 or 8 or 10 off the tee and have fun. So in summary, business golf is not difficult if you understand the basics. Okay? It's just not difficult if you understand the basics. Focus more on the relationship and less on the game. All right, again, critical. Don't get all caught up in score and the fact that you're not playing as well as you did last week, or the fact that you don't play well at all. Just focus on the relationship. Make the day all about them. So your entire focus is on them, getting to know them, trying to make the experience great for them, taking care of their little needs, whatever they may be. And really important to remember that no one's going to ever think about or remember your score, okay? But they will remember how you made them feel, and if you were fun, and if you were honest. And if you are, you're going to get a lot farther with them in the whole business process than you ever would any other way. Now get out there and do it, and watch your business grow. Thanks for taking some time with us.